You see it on his face, the color draining. Barron Trump sits in that polished congressional chamber, special guest at a youth forum. Reppers Jasmine Crockett stands at the podium. She speaks in a calm, determined voice. There are undisclosed secrets, protected wrongdoings, tied to a powerful political family. The room freezes, cameras pivot, phones light up, and in that stunned silence, time seems to stop. Barron's jaw tightens, his hands clench the chair. He doesn't move, but everything inside him is roaring. Then, in an instant, he stands. No words, no warning, just a silent, furious walkout. What did he hear that broke him? What did she almost say? The screen goes viral. Everyone watches. No one blinks. What happens next? Behind Barron, faces are pale. Some whisper. Others stare, frozen. Journalists scramble. Social media ignites with Bagu. Barron walks out. Crockett bombshell. Trump supporters blast it. Disrespectful provocation. They defend Barron, calling Crockett reckless. Crockett's side cheers her bravery, claiming the truth matters, no matter how powerful the family. Yet both sides tremble. Barron's expression is unreadable. Anger, fear, loyalty, hurt. Crockett stands poised but shaken, eyes flickering toward the exit. They will never agree with me, she says under her breath. Whatever that secret is, it split the room and the nation in two. What secret could do this? On TV, pundits speculate. Tax records, hush money, hidden scandals. Online threads explode with guesses. Barron's silence becomes its own statement. No rebuttal, just a blackout of words. Crockett's next speech? She's defensive now, careful with wording. I stand by leadership, justice, and bringing truth to light, she says, voice steady. Barron's people release a brief statement. We will not be bullied by innuendo. Both sides hold firm. We will never agree. But the public, hungry and uneasy, wants answers. And at the heart of all this stands one silent teenager, walking away from secrets no one has yet seen. What will Barron do next? Barron didn't go far. He stepped into a quiet side hallway where the cameras couldn't follow. A staffer offered him water. He waved it off. His face was tight, unreadable. I need air, he whispered. But he didn't move. Inside the chamber, Crockett continued speaking. But the energy had shifted. Every word now felt like a match over gasoline. Back in the hallway, Barron pulled out his phone. He didn't open social media. He didn't call his father. He just stared at a text message, an old one from his mother, Melania. It read, "Never let them shame you for the truth you didn't choose." He locked the phone, and for the first time since walking out, Barron's eyes watered. What memory was he holding on to? That same afternoon, former President Donald Trump was informed. Barron walked out, he repeated, leaning back in his leather chair at Mar-a-Lago. Of what? They told him. The forum, Crockett's words, the walkout seen by millions. Trump didn't shout, he didn't panic, he simply said, he did the right thing. Then he stood and walked to the window. He's not a boy anymore, he muttered. He's learning what it means to be a Trump. Melania, informed later, said only, he's hurting. This isn't what he wanted. In two very different rooms, Barron's parents reacted in two very different ways. Neither called him. Not yet. Will they reach out or wait? Later that evening, Crockett sat alone in her office. The lights were low. Her staff had gone home. She rewatched the clip, the exact moment Barron stood up and left. She paused the video on his face. There was no arrogance there, no smugness, just pain. I didn't say his name, she said aloud. But it didn't matter. Everyone knew. She pulled out a notebook and scribbled down a line. Courage sometimes feels like cruelty. Then she tore it out and threw it in the trash. Because the truth is, she meant what she said. Every word. But did she mean for him to hear it that way? Can conviction live beside compassion? That night, Barron sat in his bedroom. No staff, no cameras, just him and the silence. He wasn't angry anymore. He was tired. All day, people online had turned him into something else. Some called him brave, others spoiled. But none of them knew him. He looked at a photo on his dresser, his younger self on the White House lawn, holding his father's hand. He whispered to no one, "I didn't choose this." He wasn't defending lies. He wasn't hiding truth. He just wanted to be seen, not as a Trump, as Barron. But in that world, was that even possible? Or would the name always speak louder than the boy? The next morning, Crockett faced the press. She stood tall, her eyes steeled. "Did you target Barron Trump?" a reporter shouted. "No," she replied firmly. "I targeted silence. I challenged power. If a young man chose to walk out, that's his right." Another voice pressed. "Do you regret what you said?" She paused, not because she didn't have an answer, because she knew it mattered. How she said it. "I regret that truth hurts innocent people," she said, "but I will not apologize for truth." Behind her words there was a crack of something soft, remorse, but not retreat. Because Crockett believed deeply in what she had hinted, but she never expected him to carry the weight. Can she hold her ground without breaking his spirit? News anchors took sides. Commentators shouted. Twitter threads turned brutal. Crockett was reckless, some cried. She spoke what no one dared. Others clapped back. And Barron? He trended. Again. Memes, edits, interviews about him, but never with him. A viral post read, "He walked out like a man. That silence said more than any speech ever could." Another post, harsher, said, "He's just another Trump dodging the truth." Millions debated, but no one really saw him. And that is what hurt Barron the most. Not the walkout, not the rumors, but being turned into a battle line in a war he never asked to fight. How long before his silence breaks? At exactly 8:45 p.m., Barron's phone lit up. One word. "Come." It was from his mother. He walked downstairs. The house was quiet, her room dim. Melania sat on the edge of a long couch, wrapped in a cream robe, untouched tea beside her. She didn't rise when he entered. She just looked at him. "You walked out," she said softly. He nodded. "You didn't speak." Another nod. She finally asked, "Did it feel right?" He took a long breath, sat beside her and whispered, "It felt like I wasn't part of it anymore. Like it wasn't about me, or her, just them." She touched his hand. "You are not a weapon, Barron. Not for them. Not even for us." They sat in silence. Two people, not public figures, not stories, just mother and son. But would the world ever let them stay that way? In her quiet office, Crockett picked up a pen. No cameras, no staff, just a blank page. She began to write. "Barron, I don't know what part of my words hurt you. Maybe it was the silence that followed. Maybe it was the truth hidden behind what I didn't say. You didn't deserve that weight. You're young, and you didn't ask for your father's legacy. I didn't mean to break you. I only meant to shake the walls that protect injustice." She stopped, read it twice, folded it, but she didn't send it. Not yet. Because part of her still believed she hadn't been wrong. Only, maybe she hadn't been completely right either. Could both things be true? Donald Trump, never one to stay silent, finally made his move. At a rally packed with cheers and cameras, he looked out and said, "My son is stronger than the lies they throw." He walked out, not because he was weak, but because he knows his worth. The crowd roared. He didn't mention Crockett. He didn't mention secrets. He didn't have to. Every word was a wall of protection around his family, especially Barron. To his followers, it was pride. To his critics, it was deflection. To Barron, watching from a quiet room, it was something else entirely. A message. Stand still. Let the storm pass. Stay quiet. But inside, Barron wasn't sure he wanted to be quiet anymore. Was it time to speak? Or stay silent and safe? It wasn't a press conference. It wasn't a statement. It was just one post on Barron's private Instagram account, shared only with friends. But someone leaked it. The photo showed a close-up of a tree, half green, half bare. The caption? Truth doesn't always come with peace. That was it. No name, no hashtags, just quiet words. But for those paying attention, it was everything. It wasn't defiance. It wasn't surrender. It was Barron for the first time, speaking. And the world leaned in. Was he standing against Crockett? Or was he saying something else? Something deeper, more personal? Would he say more? Or had that single line already said too much? Crockett's team saw the post within minutes. Some pushed for a response. It's vague, one staffer said, but people think it's about her. Others urged silence. Let it pass. But Crockett stayed calm. She said only, he's allowed to feel. Still, the media didn't wait. Barron hits back, headlines blared. Pundits painted it as a teenage rebellion, a coded warning, a family message. Even some of Crockett's supporters grew uneasy. Maybe this was too far, a young voter tweeted. Meanwhile, inside Barron's circle, some urged him to delete the post. He didn't, because he wasn't angry anymore. He was curious. What happens when truth starts moving through people instead of against them? 3 days later, Repser Crockett posted a video. Not scripted, no press team, just her sitting at a desk. I want to speak from my heart, she began. Because leadership means accountability. Not always for what you did wrong, but for what your words may have done. She didn't back down from her convictions. She still stood by her warning. But then, if Barron Trump wants to have a private conversation, away from cameras, away from politics, I'm here, not to debate, just to listen. No blame, no conditions, just an open door. Some called it graceful, others saw it as strategic. But for Barron, watching silently, something softened. For the first time, someone wasn't telling him what he should be. They were asking who he was. Would he walk through that door? It didn't happen on camera. There were no photos, no microphones, just 2 chairs, a quiet room, and 2 people who had never spoken. Barron sat across from Jasmine Crockett, his hands folded, her eyes steady. She didn't rush. She didn't explain. She simply said, "Thank you for coming." Barron looked at her, not with anger, but with quiet courage. I wasn't upset that you said something, he told her. I was upset that I felt like a symbol, not a person. She nodded slowly. I never meant to take your face and turn it into a headline. They talked about truth, about responsibility, about what it feels like to be born into something you didn't choose. They didn't agree, not on politics, not on legacy. But they listened. And that mattered more than anyone watching could ever know. Sometimes peace doesn't look like agreement. It looks like respect. The media never got the full story. There were guesses, rumors. But what happened in that room stayed there. Barron didn't post about it. Crockett didn't release a statement. All that changed was this. 1 week later, Barron attended another youth forum. He walked in, alone, sat near the front. When a speaker said something bold, something uncomfortable, he didn't leave. He listened. And after, when reporters swarmed, he gave only 6 words. We grow stronger by staying present. It wasn't a soundbite. It was a lesson, and it came from a place deeper than politics. Sometimes the greatest power is staying. Crockett kept speaking truth. Barron kept finding his voice. They didn't become allies. They didn't become enemies. They remained two people, standing on opposite sides of a very wide line. But because of one quiet moment, they saw each other, and that made all the difference. In a city built on noise, their silence echoed louder, not because it fixed anything, but because it reminded everyone. We don't have to agree. We just have to care enough not to walk away forever. The walkout may have gone viral, but the real story was in the return. If this story moved you, if it made you pause, feel, or even think differently, please take a second to like this video. Tell us in the comments. Have you ever felt unheard, misunderstood, or seen something differently after truly listening? Your voice matters here. And if you believe in stories that bring humanity back to politics, hit that subscribe button. We're telling the stories no one else will. Together, let's keep the conversation alive.